Jesus said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he fell among the thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him, departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way. And when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise, a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked at him and passed by on the other side. The road to Jericho, I expect we all know, was a very dangerous road at that time. It was about 3,600 feet lower in elevation than Jerusalem was, on the 17 miles between Jerusalem and Jericho. And that's a pretty steep decline in elevation. And there are places in it, I think as you get closer to Jericho, that was considered a wilderness place. That is, when Jesus went out into the wilderness, he might have been in some of this area. I mean, where he's tempted. There's places where it was rocky and there was scrub vegetation, very little, and very winding road and rocky. Places where thieves were known to hang out and hope to find someone going that way that might have some valuables that they could get. The priest was the man who made sacrifices for others, for himself and then for others. The Levite was the one who cared for the temple and helped the priest in the performance of it, regular services and maintenance of the temple. And each of them in turn, as they came to this man, they noticed him, probably from a little distance, and they made their choice to ignore him, be indifferent to him. He can lie there and suffer and die. I don't care. Now that's the religious leaders. And Jesus, I think, could probably point out the condition of the spiritual condition of the religious leaders of the time. But there's a Samaritan who came along, and this Samaritan, of course, I think probably almost know, is a mixed breed. He was, and the priest and Levi would be Jews, but this Samaritan was a mixed race and hated by the Jews. They lived in the northern part of the country and mostly, and there were people that, when the nation was taken into captivity, they were the ones that escaped going to Babylon. And then, of course, the Babylon brought in people from some other countries that they had conquered and helped settle them, provide people to care for the area and to be able to pay them some tribute each year. So they were a mixed group, a mixed race, and the occupied part of what the Jews would think should be pure Jew and And anyway, there was a lot of enmity between the Samaritans and the Jews of the day. And the last person that this man would have thought of as being a good man and to help a Jew would have been a Samaritan. But he didn't only see him, he had real compassion on him. And to have compassion on someone, I think is to, like I said, is to feel their needs, to feel their pain. And really, out of a love for them as a human being, to help to want to relieve that pain and relieve that suffering and to help them in their needs. The Samaritan was that kind of a man. So he took care of the man, put him on his own beast and on his own donkey, and took him down to Jericho. And you know, this poor man was most likely a rich man. The people put their wealth in like fancy, expensive clothes or in money, and there were several denominations, some of them pretty high value, or in valuable metals or stuff like that. Anyway, when they took what he had and stripped him of his clothes, that was probably valuable clothes. But this Samaritan took him to an inn and took care of him through the night, and personally got his hands bloody probably, and personally really involved in caring for him and relieving his problems, his needs. And then that was not all. He had an interest in his continued well-being, continued healing, and was willing to be able to pay for whatever that might amount to. And he was a man that I guess this innkeeper maybe already knew. He trusted him. When he left on his left the inn, going on his journey, he said, "When I come back, whatever the expenses might be to care for this man, I'll pay for it." So this innkeeper trusted him. And so anyway, Jesus asked the lawyer then, and the lawyer was a person trained in the law, the biblical law, not the Roman law. In other words, he was an expert in the law, in the Mosaic law. He was an expert in that. If you wanted to know what it meant to teach the Sabbath, he could tell you how far you could walk, what you could do on the Sabbath. And other parts of the Ten Commandments, he'd explain to you what you needed to do to fulfill that law. He was an expert in those things. So Jesus asked him, said, now what do you think? Which one of these was a neighbor to this man? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. And Jesus said, go and do thou likewise. That's a tall order for that man. To go and do likewise. The doing is the problem. And today, that's the same case. The doing is the problem. So many times we come to church and Sunday school lesson, hear the sermons, and we enjoy it. We get a blessing out of it. But I started that in the middle of the week, but more likely by Monday morning, we've forgotten all about it. We couldn't tell you what the song services were, what the scriptures was used, and so on. Now I'm talking about me. Maybe I'm not. I'm talking about you.
You're talking about us too.